Hello and welcome to Racers Now, and thanks for joining us on a special edition as SD has organised to do a bit of a conference, if you like, and have some special guests along the way, two of which you can already see on screen as we're talking about the price of racing, the price of attending racing. It's been a hot topic in recent week from everywhere, from the Irish Derby to the English Derby and everything in between. SD, as we know, goes racing virtually as much as anyone you could ever dream of, 2 or 3 times a week. And we're going to be joined by some people who sit on both sides of the fence, i.e., the attendees like Liam in this conversation, people who work at the racecourse like Andy taking bets, and obviously we know what SD gets up to as well, with some very special guests a bit later on. Possibly planned, but it's the SD show tonight. I'm just sitting back in the background and let the chaos commence. Away you go, SD.
Well, let's welcome Liam, who's a very keen race goer from the north, and of course, Andy is here. Andy has done us a massive favour tonight because friend of the channel has some sort of illness. He's literally just texted me, and Andy has suddenly come up from Scotland and appeared greatly. So well done to you, sir. So let's just begin this, because obviously, look, there are certain racecourses who take the piss. I don't think there's any doubt about that, and I don't just mean in terms of admission price. I mean, you will see me tweet from time to time about catering prices, drink prices, whatever you like. So I'm going to go to you first, Liam. How often do you go racing, and how often would you go racing?
Right, okay, yeah. I go racing about once a month. And you know what? If it was more affordable, I would go weekly maybe. I was looking at going on that Saturday card at York, because I do love York. I know that you hate it, but I love York, and I just thought that card. There's only two races that I probably would have had a bet on, and I just thought it was a bit of a shite card, so I just didn't go. But I do go about once a month. Last time I went to Royal Ascot 2 weeks ago on Saturday.
Well, Andy, you were there, weren't you? Weren't you?
I was at Royal Ascot.
And
Oh,
and
nice.
how
All
much? They
week.
call it a Windsor enclosure. It's a silver ring. How much was that to get in?
It was. I think that the early bird stuff for next year is 25 to 30 quid, which is pretty good. Yes, you're down by the 3 furlong pole, but you're getting into Royal Ascot for 25, 30 quid, which is kind of less than some of the Mondays that you're seeing at some of the provincial tracks. Outstanding value, I would say.
I think that's all right, a pony. How much did you pay, Liam?
Well, I paid a bit more because there's a special reason why I went to Royal Ascot. My dad has a share in Get It, who won the Wokingham,
Oh,
and it was
bloody hell!
and it was yeah, he's a part of that syndicate ownership, and it was a very last minute decision to go, so we ended up going with Racing Breaks, and we paid £250 a ticket because it was sold out, and we had a table and a seat. But it was obviously a special occasion. Usually we would just do normal tickets.
And Racing Breaks won't thank me for saying this, but does anyone any idea how much Racing Breaks take as a commission out of all of this?
I don't know how much racing commission
Is that the
takes.
only way you could get a ticket, sir?
Yeah, it was a sold out event when we were looking at buying.
So, well, this is. Do you want to know what my advice would have been here? And I don't know if you agree with this, Andy. Honestly, drive to Ascot, see a tout, because you'd have got in for less
Well, yeah,
than 250 quid.
I know, but that was more of a special occasion. SD obviously
Yeah. So take us through. Just take us through, because I'm pretty shit hot on what it'll cost you to get in, because it obviously favors me to know these things. So if where are you going next racing?
Next racing, I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go to York for the Juddmonte. I think maybe on the odd days in the summer, just when I want to see a particular horse or want to have a bet in a race. That's the kind of way I do racing.
Where are you based?
In Manchester.
So you're based in Manchester. So do you not go to Haydock or
Oh no,
Bangor
I go to Haydock. I do go to Haydock. Yeah.
or Cartmel?
No, I never done. I never done Cartmel. Never done Cartmel.
It would be remiss of me not to mention, you bet there, Andy. Why have you never been to Cartmel?
I'm more of a flat fan, to be fair. I'm more of a flat fan. I know that might not be popular here with you
It's
and your
fine, it's fine. So you're
um,
more of a flat fan, but
yeah.
would what is it to get on at Cartmel, Andy, now in the paddock?
Um, we actually bailed out of Cartmel a couple of years ago. It's a long way, and with the gap in the racing, it's always a 2 day job. So you're looking at 3 days accommodation, um, generally at bank holidays. So you've got to look at the whole expense scenario, really. And for us, it just wasn't working. So we bailed out of Cartmel a couple of years ago. I would imagine pay on a gate in the region of 30 quid for the TAT section, 22, 23 for the centre course.
Yeah, yeah. My view, it's well publicised. That is too much. So Liam, your next racing is at the Jubbmont. How much is it to get in the Jubbmont? You just take me through
It's
what if you can just do this so people understand how much. Let's go from you leaving your house to you getting home. How are you going to spend at the Jubbmont on various things?
Well, I don't drive, so it would be a train. That would be about there and back in the summer. It would probably be about, I'd say about 25, £30. I can't remember how much it cost last year.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
obviously then you got to get your food expenses on the way, this and that, and it's about £90 a ticket for I think for Juddmonte Day, if I remember correctly, just for the day.
Yeah.
Usually I do get the county stand for for the 3 day passes, but
Hmm.
I can't be asked this year. I didn't like I didn't enjoy the Thursday last year. I just kind of this year I did go to the last three for the 4 days, and now this year I'm not feeling it this year. I was saying that to a few friends. They only go to the Juddmonte Day. I used to do and I just didn't enjoy it last year. I don't know why. It just kind of fell off the Thursday. I didn't enjoy.
And does the dress code put you off? Does the food prices put you off at the course?
Nah, well, the dress code is I like the dress code idea. You know, it's a bit more formal, isn't it? You wear a tie, you wear a suit. Everybody's kind
Yeah,
of dressed nice.
but with respect, I
Yeah,
really cannot be arsed with some snotty nosed tosser at York Racecourse or another racecourse telling me
yeah,
what I'm gonna wear on a hot summer's day when it'll be topping 30 degrees, and frankly,
yeah,
at the end of the day, I'll bloody stink.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah. It was a hot day. It was a hot day at Ascot, and
Yeah, it was.
you're pouring in sweat. On that Saturday. Yeah, I know what you mean, SD. But people do like it, so I don't mind. I don't mind. I mean,
You don't mind the dress code's fair enough. Do you eat and drink when you get there?
I don't. I don't. I used to when it was a bit more affordable before COVID, but since COVID, it just seems like everything
So
is just
so
rocketed.
so since COVID, we've now got a race goer who wants to go racing more, but starves and thirsts himself because the food and drink isn't affordable. I mean, this isn't a
Yeah,
great way to be running British race. And this is the point of tonight. This is the
yeah,
point of telling race
yeah,
courses, for God's sake, wake up and
yeah,
smell the coffee. Now, you might
yeah.
have seen the coffee tweet at the weekend. Would you spend £4 on a cup of coffee, or £6.70 on a large one, as was offered at Newcastle on Saturday?
No, 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 no. I wouldn't because you're just getting ripped off, and that's the point of it. If race going was more inexpensive, everybody would win. You'd go there, you'd spend more money, and it would be beneficial for on-course
Okay.
bookmakers. The whole experience would be better if
So there's a
everybody at
couple of
every turn.
questions. We've a
Yeah,
lot of people to get on tonight, Liam. So
yeah,
that's why I keep asking these questions. I'm not trying to be rude. So
no.
for you to have a few pints at the races, how much would you want to spend?
Well, if I was drinking, I want to be a bit, at least a little bit pissed, or probably about 50, 60 quid, but that's only, there's only like 5 or 6 pints, isn't it? And you're not really pissed at five
No,
or
no,
six
no.
pints.
My point is, how
Yeah.
much would you spend per pint? What would take you over that threshold?
Oh, how much would I spend? Yeah, I think about £5 or £6 is reasonable. I think it's disgraceful how much it costs now. I mean, I remember I went to Cheltenham, it's £7.50 for a Guinness, and you just can't believe it, can you?
No,
And
you know, you can get a pint at Air for £5.50 because I'll be having one on Sunday. So,
right,
so
5.50.
that's that. So let's say, what would you eat at the races? Would you have a burger or some chips or?
Oh, I can't remember the last time I ate a race course. I can't remember the last time I ate a race course. I think I've had a
Well,
burger,
well,
at Wolverhampton or
isn't that
something.
an indictment? Isn't that
Yeah,
an indictment?
yeah,
And Andy, just to ask you, obviously people have it's a bit different with card, and a lot of race courses are card only, but people
yeah.
have a finite amount they want to spend. And how much does that affect your turnover?
Yeah, I since we started, we've been on course since about 2012. Our average bet size probably hasn't changed in that period over the time. So certainly people are not betting anymore on an average kind of basis. Is that affected by what they're paying to get in? Is that affected by what they're paying for a burger? I don't know. We frankly don't get time to eat or drink, despite my portly demeanor. We don't literally, we get on course and then we're away, and we don't eat or drink, and we certainly don't eat or drink the concession stuff there. I would imagine that people are rocking up with a certain amount of money either in their budget or in their pocket, and that money is spent on if they're having a drink or if they're having a burger, and then the leftover would presumably come to us. 95% of what we take is still cash. So if that cash isn't in the pocket, it's not going to be spent on betting.
And just on average stake, because I think this is important, and I don't know for you, Liam, would you take cash to a race course?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, yeah.
Right, okay. So if the racecourse doesn't accept cash, does that then alter you betting
You
with an on-course bookmaker, say? I mean, they do
um
take card, but are you more
yeah,
likely to go on your phone? That's where I'm going with it.
yeah. You know what? Sometimes no, yeah. Um, Sometimes I do go to race courses, and I do back on the phone just because of the prices, and sometimes because of the extra places and stuff like that. Not necessarily because I don't have cash or they don't accept card. Um, that's the way I would go about it.
That's the way. So if you've got one message, last question to you. If you've
Yeah.
got one message to racecourses, if I mean, I'm just trying to think. Name me a racecourse you'd think of going, but aren't going in the next month.
Um, Goodwood. Goodwood. I'd
So,
love to go to Goodwood.
well, yes, I'm actually at Goodwood. Um,
Come on.
yes. And what would your message to Goodwood Racecourse be? Because I know how much it costs to go to Goodwood, and let me tell you, I have to back a lot of winners with Andy to get there.
Yeah. Just make it cheaper. Just think about the opportunity cost that everybody's putting in to go to races. Think about like sometimes people have to take holidays. Think about the expense to travel there. I'm from the north, so I'd have to come down to London and then go out that way. And just think about that. Obviously, their costs have gone up, but you can't just pass that on to the consumer at every point
If they get
because
more people there, they'll make more money. So this is just rough, but to get in the Golden Enclosure at Goodwood on Goodwood Tuesday is 50 quid, and a burger's about 13 quid, and a pint is 8 quid. Would
yeah.
that be enough to put you off?
Yeah, because of all the other costs that I have to and shit. All the other costs that I have to have to get there. That's a
Yes.
ridiculous amount for what it costs.
Okay. All right, Liam, thank you very much for your time.
No
We're
problem,
just going to
SD.
get some other people on now. But
Yeah,
thank you very much. You've got your point across very well, sir. Thank you. If you could just
thank you,
log
SD.
off now, we're going to get some other people on. And as if by magic, the technical team in the background, Andy, are going to have some very special people coming on now.
Oh, don't tell me friend of the channel's coming on.
Oh, Neil's here. Neil
Yeah.
Watson, Haydock
Are
Park
you are you
member.
are you well?
Yes, I thought you were. I saw him last night, actually. How are you, Neil?
Oh, I'm okay. I'm looking forward to Saturday.
You're looking forward to Saturday? Yes, I'll be there on
Yes.
Saturday via Kempton and
Yeah.
Sandown, and then I'll be at
Yeah.
Carlisle and Ayr. So what we'll do. Sorry, I'm getting messages off people. You can admit Robert as well. You can admit Robert as well. Oh, and here is Robert
Evening, Ian.
Whitelock.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Are you in a Hexham caravan?
No, I'm sitting in the front room at home, actually.
I thought you were advertising the Hexham caravans.
No,
How
not
are
this
you?
evening. I'm very well,
So
thanks.
for those who don't know, this is Robert Whitelock, who's general manager of Hexham Racecourse, and of course we've got Neil Watson, who traverses the country, usually via public transport. So Neil,
Yeah.
let's just ask you, when were you last at Hexham?
Uh I think Derby Day, 2014, 15, 16, around that time, I think, with my dad.
Bloody hell, you've not been since Robert took over. It's a
No.
magnificent place.
No, it is. It's lovely. It's a cracking track. It's well worth the visit. It's just a bit of a long way if you don't drive.
And just tell us, Robert, your admission prices at present haven't really moved since you took over 10 years ago, have they?
No, you're right, Stephen. They haven't moved since we took over 10 years ago. If you buy the tickets in advance, it's still £20 to get in the club, £12 and £10 for seniors in the paddock. If they're bought on the day, it's an extra £3.
Okay.
What I would like to say is, yes, we are out of the way at Hexham. And unfortunately, we're not on the public transport route, but we do put free buses on from both the station and the bus station to get racegoers up to the course and back down into the town after racing.
But that's something which a lot of courses tend not to do. I think tracks like Sedgefield and Catterick, I don't think really do anything, and they're not far from the East Coast main line. And that's something that a lot of tracks need to look into, especially those, like you say, Robert, the out of the way ones. Just get in contact with like the local bus companies to provide transport up, because some do. Like when I went to Bath and Goodwood, Bath I had to pay, Goodwood was free. Goodwood during the Glorious meeting is, well, they do charge an absolute extortionate rip-off fee. But it's a way to, if you want to get people coming to courses who don't drive, you need to work in tangent to get the transport links there.
Well, we do have a good relationship with Tyne Valley Coaches, and as I say, we put a bus on from the rail and the bus station every day up to the race course. Sometimes we'll put a third one on if it's going to be a busy day. So they'll pick up at the bus station and then sweep round by the rail station and see if there's anyone still there. And then we'll probably have 3 buses going down. Sometimes we even put a 4th one on if necessary.
And Robert, I must ask you this. Obviously, I'm not going to refer to other courses, but your driver at Hexham seems to be to get the race goer through the door. Would that be correct? Rather than relying on, say, media rights.
Look, you've got to get the race go through the door. We need to promote the sport, the industry that we're in. And the only true way to do that is let's get the race go onto the course and let them enjoy the experience whichever course it's at, and let them enjoy the experience because they will want to come back.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Robert. So just, I don't need you to talk figures per se, but I was obviously there last Sunday, and the catering prices are very, very reasonable. Now, what would the reason? Is that because you charge them less, or the catering's in house, or you've got Newcastle Falcons, haven't you?
For our caterers in Newcastle Falcons, you're right. Yeah, they are. They're a local company that we work with. And again, it's just what I was saying about trying to get racecourse through the door. The aim is to fill hospitality at each meeting. And the one sure way to fill hospitality at every meeting is to have sensible pricing. And I believe that our 4-course Carvery buffet in the Henderson room is extremely sensibly priced.
Oh, it's fantastic because I ate it last week, didn't I?
You did.
And yes, and it was absolutely it was a gastronomic orgy. Now, Andy, for you, when you're going racing at Hexham, do punters stake a little bit more?
Yeah, I think our average bet size at Hexham is really pretty strong. It's interesting what you were talking about with regards to transport being put on, because the two courses that I believe that really look after their punters, Hexham and Perth do a similar thing. There's buses on from the centre, and if you're looking at two courses that really outperform their demographic when it comes to the local population, then it's Hexham and Perth. And they're two tracks that we absolutely love going to, despite the 45-degree angle in the betting ring, which requires most of our wooden blocks to keep us at 90 degrees. But that shows what can be done in an area where you haven't got a massive demographic if you put the work in, if you put the infrastructure in, rather than just relying on people turning up.
Now, Neil,
Yeah.
I'll do your deal now. Do you want to lift to Hexham on the second Saturday in October? I haven't prepped him for this either. Do you want to go back to Hexham? It's a Haydock reciprocal.
Well, the week before I'm down in London at Twickenham for the rugby, so I'll say I'll have to let you know near the time. But I would love to visit Hexham again.
You've got to go to Hexham. I mean, Hexham is a racecourse, by the way. I mean, I rave about it. So does Mike Parsay. As a natural amphitheatre, there is absolutely nowhere nicer.
No, I think properly Hexham, Goodwood, they've got that natural country feel to it, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean the problem, of course, with Goodwood is there is. I love going racing at Goodwood, but there is an air of pomposity about it. There's no airs of pomposity about Hexham. And tell us, Robert, you've got ITV later in the year, haven't you? Now, I said to Robert Hogarth, for God's sake, you've got to send a presenter, because if you just send a camera, it doesn't look quite as good. But if you send a presenter, everyone will know how great Britain's most scenic racecourse is.
We have ITV on Friday, November the 7th, and they're going to show two races, and it'll be in conjunction with the racing at Exeter on the same day. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's a Halden Gold Cup weekend.
Yes.
The Badger Ales win Canton, so they're going to show two races from Hexham.
I mean, that is. I have never known. When was Hexham last on terrestrial TV?
Well, it certainly hasn't been on the time that we've owned the racecourse.
No,
but
I can't remember it in the last 30 years.
No, I do actually. It was 1 June. It was during the Channel 4 days, and you know that June meeting at York before Royal Ascot.
Yeah.
I think that was abandoned. I think because of heavy rain during the week.
That's correct. Yeah.
And Channel 4 showed one race. They showed a few from Sandown, but they included a hurdle from Hexham. I think that was the last time Hexham was on terrestrial television.
I mean,
that would be about 2010, somewhere around about there, I would suspect.
That's fantastic. And of course, just one other thing, Robert. Now, a lot of racecourse groups, and I'll not name them, have a lot of staff, don't they? Now, there's you, Cheryl, Sean. There's obviously the grounds people. Lynn, who does a great job. Have I missed anyone?
No, you haven't. That's it.
That's the point.
That is it.
In not overstaffing your racecourse, is it fair to say that you can pass that on to the public in terms of lesser admission?
Well, it's all part and parcel of our business model, and we are. Everyone is capable of doing each other's roles, nearly.
Yes, they are, and I must shout out for Lynn. Lynn has been at Hexham longer than any of us can remember, and it's so nice to see her. And I mean, so nice to see her smiling face every time we go. She really is a credit to racing, isn't she?
She is. All of the staff are, and all of the staff at the racecourse are long-standing members. The head groundsman been there 20 year. Michael Morris has been there over 30 year. The likes of Matty's been, I would suspect, somewhere in the region of 15 or 16 year. You know, they're all long-standing members of staff.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was really good that when we had the visit from the Queen earlier in June, she took time to speak to every one of them.
Yeah, and she listened to them.
And she
And
did,
might we see the Queen again sometime?
Well, she did say that because she was stood next to the photograph of No Trumps that we have on the wall, which was our only Royal runner in 2019, which also won. And she did say she would like to emulate that and bring one of her horses up one day.
Isn't that lovely? She has a lot with you. Jamie Snowden does have the odd runner, of course, at Hexham.
Jamie Snowden is a good supporter, actually. He's one of the southernmost trainers that do support as well.
Okay, and how much is annual membership at Hexham?
It's £150,
So
and
it's
I think
150.
and seniors is 130, I believe. And
So seniors is 130. So if you're over 65, how many fixtures have you got?
we've got 15.
So you're 15 fixtures.
It's about £8.40 a fixture.
Yeah, it's good. It's good value. Robert, I want to thank you for coming on tonight, and I just want to thank you how great your racecourse is. I do mean that. There's a lot of racecourses doing a lot wrong, but you're doing a lot right, and I think bigger racecourses could emulate you.
Yeah.
We appreciate the goodwill that we have on social media through people like yourselves and other people that come racing and enjoy coming to Hexham, and they're not frightened to put it onto social media, whether it be Facebook, whether it be X, or whatever platform it is. And we much prefer other people to speak on our behalf rather than doing it ourselves.
Yeah, well done to you. Well done to you. And Neil, come on.
Hello.
You've got
Yeah.
to come to Hexham in October with me. You've done
Oh.
Sedgefield, and Hexham's far nicer, sir.
Well, I've still got all the West Country to hit first, and Dross Lassen, Chelmsford. Well, I promise I will go with you on a trip to Hexham. Possibly not the October, because, like I said, the week before I'm at the Women's Rugby World Cup final at Twickenham. So yeah, I probably could be spending a weekend at home to recover.
Right, so I'll just touch on this. So you're going to Twickenham. How much is a pint? And how much
I've never
is it to
been.
get in?
Oh, actually, it's a good point about pricing, because it's the women's final, and I've got a Category B ticket that's cost me £67.
Bloody hell! Bloody hell! If you book in advance, you can have 5 days at Hexham for that.
Yeah, but you know, this will absolutely shock you, because I was doing some prep beforehand, and you know, it's the British Grand Prix this weekend at
Yes.
at Silverstone, yeah. And let's click on this ticket link. Yeah, if you wanted on Sunday to go into the club at Silverstone stand, prices from £349.
But is that not like hospitality at Ascot, or?
Well, I think a general admission might have sold out. I think you're looking at general admission Sunday. That's from £389, and that's a lot of money.
Well, yes, it is. Yes, it
and,
is.
And
I mean,
I know we do.
thank God I hate Formula One.
And I do know we moan about pricing and racing being extortionate. Only at some places, certainly not Hexham. But, you know, it's cheaper than a lot of sports. Another one, I'll give you an example, which I did research on again. 2015, right? The Rugby World Cup final at Twickenham, the men's final. A Category A ticket, and this was 2015, remember? £715.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think the one thing I would say about that, and I am not defending it in any way, is F1 comes to Britain once a year, and obviously, Twickenham, you know, I mean, I would just never go. If I got some corporate hospitality, I might go, but you know, you would never pay that unless you had stupid money, unless you had stupid money.
Well, somebody I work with, he actually went to with his girlfriend on holiday in Spain, and they went to the Spanish Grand Prix because they said it was actually about a third of the cost of what it would cost to go to Silverstone. So
but
yeah,
a third of the cost. Jesus. I mean, the thing is,
yeah,
they only dock in every country once a year.
yeah.
So Neil, how could we get you racing more?
Well, for me, it's just a case of, well, I do about twice a month anyway. So like work, I've got work in the way. That's 4 days a week. So and it's just a case of geographically where can I get to? Costs, trains, of course. The winters can be difficult with early starts, but maybe they could petition the government to not do this, moving the clocks back at the end of October. That's a pain in the ass.
Do
When
you
you think
know
the day
what? I
after,
don't mind them because I get home early
yeah,
and I can go to the pub.
it's not if you want to get an early train.
Well, yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah,
Come and see me.
yeah,
I'll give you a lift anytime. Robert,
yeah.
Neil, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Mm,
And well
thank you.
done to you, Robert. Well done.
Cheers. Thank you, Stephen. We'll look
Thank you.
forward to seeing you later in the year.
You'll
See you,
see
Robert.
me, of course, in August, won't you?
Yeah, we will, hopefully.
Yes.
Okay.
Andy, you punting. You love it. You love it at Hexham. You love it, don't you?
Love it, Hexham. 7-hour round trip, and yet we're still there.
You're still there. We've got another guest on. John's here. Bloody hell. John from Ripon and Ponte Carlo. And we've got another one on. This is unbelievable. How are we, gentlemen?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Yourselves?
Yeah, fantastic. How are we? Great. So, Sam, you tell us a little bit about when you go racing.
So I go racing probably about once a month. At this point, I've got two little ones, so I don't quite get to go as much as I used to. Part of it, and part of the reason why I was interested to sort of speak to you was because I think that the pricing it's just getting silly. I think in short and simple, racing on the whole for anyone who wants to go, it's just getting a bit expensive. I think
Okay, so just talk us through that in terms of
I
where
think
would you want to go racing? John's from Ripon and Ponte. I don't think they're too bad, but where would you want to go racing? If I was to say to you in the next 2 weeks, where would you want to go?
generally speaking, I stick local. Part of that is because there's not very good transport links. I don't think across the country. Trying to get to some race courses, it's difficult. And that's
Do you
before
drive?
I do, but a lot of race courses. I mean, obviously, I'm in Liverpool, so we've got Chester and Haydock that are sort of local. Bangor's not too far away, but anywhere after that, off the top of my head, you're starting to get sort of a long drive. You know, it's not like just an hour to get somewhere. So
welcome to my world.
It's you're dipping your hand in for petrol and stuff like that. But before you've even spent anything on course and all that, I think it's heading down a little bit of a dangerous road long term racing.
Okay. Have you ever been to? Let's just take Ponte for that. Have you ever been there?
I've been to Ponte. I've been to a few. Been to like Wetherby, Catterick up north, Yorkshire way. Been to York itself. I haven't been to Ponte, unfortunately.
You've not been to Ponte. So Ponte race, John's going to correct me here, 3 weeks on Sunday.
We race we race next Tuesday. That's at the forefront of the mind at the moment. But if we're looking at weekends, we race. Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
That is, because you'll see me there. And if he books now, you've still got that family ticket. I haven't checked this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, kids are always free anyway. But yeah, I think there's plenty of value there. And whilst I agree that going racing, going anywhere can be expensive now, particularly if you're driving or if you're trying to use public transport. I think there is value out there. It's
So if he buys that family ticket now, John, just out
yeah.
of interest, how much would it cost him?
Oh, I'm not sure. I've got that many prices floating around my head. But one thing is for sure, it'd be value. I don't think he'd buy it and think he'd been ripped off there.
It's between 30 and 40 quid, I'd have thought, for an entire family. Now,
I
would that be too much
think it's
for you?
less. I think it's less.
It might be a pony. I went high, but
Yeah.
would
No,
that be too much for you for a family of 4?
No, something like that. That sounds really good, and I'm aware. Obviously, I've missed every race course in the country. I'm aware that not every race course. I don't put all race courses under the same umbrella. I am aware that there's a few, and I have heard of, just on social media. I have seen stuff about Pontefract, just coincidentally speaking about that, and that does seem to be one that doesn't want to try and rip people off. There's a fine line, isn't there, between the pricing and what people.
It's 30 quid for a family of 4. I'm being told.
Yeah, that to me would be that's good. Considering when places are charging 50 quid a ticket on a bang average race day, do you know what I mean? So,
and we're on about Chester there, aren't we? So you won't go to Chester because they charge you 50 quid.
That's one of them. That's one of them. Yeah. Top of my head, I was considering going to. I think you were there actually yesterday. The Aintree meeting in May on the Friday evening. I think that was about 50 quid. Now I'm aware that there was a concert on, but I think that's another issue, because whether you want to go and see the concert or not, it doesn't matter.
I just worked out. I think we've got 3 Scousers in here. And somebody
We're
else is sat in
taking over
Merseyside
slowly.
now.
Check your wallet, ST.
We're everywhere, aren't we?
Yeah. So would you consider? I'll tell you what. As a thank you, I'll get you that ticket. All right. If you want to go to Ponty, I'll see you at Ponty. I'll pay John for you.
You being serious?
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. I'd go 100%.
I'll pay for it. I'll sort it out with John after this. How's that?
Unbelievable. That's amazing, SD. Man of the people.
Right. What would get you to do more racing?
It's the families. That's a big sticking point for me at the moment, because the youngest one, she's 3 months. She was born on Champion Hurdle Day, actually. So at the moment, with the 3-month and a 4-year-old, that's probably the biggest issue. So
I'll do what I do. Do what I do. Just give the missus give the missus a score. Just say go out to the train fair for the day, and I'm going racing, dear.
But that's why when it's like you can only do it once a month, because you've got to consider the fact that you might not have a good day pumping wise as well. So after you've spent all your expenses, if you haven't had a good day, you might be down a little bit. So I think you just want to feel valued as a customer. I think a lot of race courses, as I say, they just there's a bit of greed, I think, at the moment. I mean, the price.
Does that leave you an ill feeling in your mouth?
Yeah, because like when you're paying £7.50 for a pint, you do it because you're there, aren't you? But
come on, John, how much is a pint of Ponty?
The difficulty with catering is that at a lot of race courses, and not all of them, but at a lot of race courses, the catering's outsourced. Us, for example, Ripon as well. In fact, I think the majority of the race courses in Yorkshire, probably with the exception of Doncaster, because you're not racing all that often, 16, 17 days a year, you're outsourcing your catering. So that you have very limited control over what prices your caterers charge.
And this is CGC, is it?
Yeah, we have CGC. I can
love
say
the ladies at CGC. They're so nice,
they do a great job. They do a great job. But in terms of pricing, we don't have a whole lot of control. We do, however, we take 0 commission on 2 we do a lager, like a bottom end lager and a bottom end bitter, which I won't name for for yeah. I don't want to call them a bottom end lager and a bottom end bitter, but we don't take any commission on those, and that ensures that we are we're the cheapest price on lager and bitter in Yorkshire. But yeah, I mean, I'm inclined to agree that the price of a drink at the races is too expensive, particularly if you're having a couple. But
Well,
the other side to that is that yeah, the race courses do have a limited control over those catering prices in a lot of cases. Not in all cases, but certainly most of the independents would be outsourcing their catering.
okay. All right. On that bombshell, I will see you at Ponte in 3 weeks, and you can have 2 members' tickets. How's that?
Oh, perfect. That'd be amazing.
All right.
See you there.
See you
See you
there.
there.
We're going to get somebody else on now. Good to see you. And here we go. Here's Cameron. Is it Sando?
It is indeed. Evening.
We'll see you one day. I will see you one day at the races. You were at Utoxeter, weren't you?
I did. I made a last-minute call to go.
Last
Despite
minute
what I
call to
thought
go.
was a
Right.
reasonably expensive ticket cost.
Yes. Reason. So you tell me. I mean, Ponte. You're always at Ponte, aren't you? I'll bring Ripon into it as well. John does Ripon. Are you just clerking at Ripon, or are you?
Yeah, I officially left Ripon in March to go to Ponty, but I am still doing the race days at Ripon as race day clerk. Yeah.
Okay. Now the one thing that they have, I mean, this will mean a bit less to you, Sando, but you know, the one thing Ponte and Ripon have in common is they both have silver rings or course enclosures, whatever you want to call them, which are less expensive. Now, this seems to be a thing that's exclusive to Yorkshire, pretty much. Now, John,
Mm-hmm.
for God's sake, never get rid of them.
I don't
Because
think I don't think either. Well, certainly Ponty or Ripon won't be looking to get rid of them. You know, they provide people with with great value. You know, they're an initiation to racing for many as well, particularly for kids and for young families. So yeah, there's certainly no intention to move away from them.
now, I've purposely not prepped any of our guests tonight. You all got sent what time people are coming on. So I just want to ask you a question, Sander. Do you turn up to racing on the day, or do you book in advance?
I would probably 75% of the time I'd be going on the day, making a decision on the
And you would
morning.
look at the card and think, can I win at that card? Because that's what I
Yes.
did. Okay.
Is it competitive? Do I think, there's
Right.
an edge here there?
Now, John, here's the problem and I get why you do it. But what is the differential in pricing on the day and pricing in advance?
You're looking £2 to £3.
£2 to £3.
Yeah.
Okay. So roughly speaking, it's about 14%.
Yeah. Did you say 40 or 14?
14.
Yeah, I'd say that's about right.
A seventh.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why can't you make it so the same price is on the day as in advance? Because I'll tell you, I'll give you the direct thing now, John, and
Yeah.
you may not like this. You put up some really good quality racing last Sunday.
Yeah.
And the card wasn't great.
Nope. It was
And
frustrating,
that's
wasn't
why. Well, I felt sorry for you. You know, you had those 3 runner races. Did you bother going, Sando?
I did go in the end. Which is quite ironic. To be fair, the fields were small, but I still thought they were competitive, a couple of them. I know competitiveness, for me, it doesn't always have to be 15, 16 runners a race. So I thought on that instance it was worth attending.
Yeah, well done, well done. And Andy, you don't bet at Ponty, do you? And you don't bet at. Do you bet at Ripon?
We actually we have a rep down there. 14-hour round trip. As much as I'd love to go to Ponty, and Ripon is a little bit too rich for us. But we do have a rep down there, and our intention was actually go to Ponty on the Sunday. A combination of, unfortunately, the field sizes and, frankly, the utter exhaustion Aura and indeed ourselves had after 5 days betting in 35 degrees to Ascot was just a little bit too much. So we opted for 12 hours straight in bed, I think, rather than.
But Ponty's a lot nicer than Ascot. Even I know that. I prefer to go racing at Ponty.
Absolutely, but that was as brutal a set of conditions, I think, as we've ever bet in.
Yeah, yeah. But your badge, let's just address this with John now. Your badge is a multiple of the price on the day, isn't it?
It is. And in fairness, Ponty is definitely at the lower end of the spectrum there, and it certainly wouldn't be a barrier for us going. It was just simply the weather was marginal. We're a kind of backline pitch at Ponty, so relying on the trade from the grass. And honestly, Saturday night we looked at each other in that car past 6 at Ascot and just shook our heads and said, "Go to bed, lads. Just go to bed."
Oh, you need to do fake them then the next day, you pussy. Anyway, I've done that this year. What is stopping you doing more racing, Sander? Anyone there?
I think some of them decisions that I make on the morning of. Oh.
Yeah, I can hear. We got signal issues.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Start talking. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, for me it's on the morning. I'll check ticket prices earlier in the week. If I know it's X then, and I then go to look on the morning of or the evening before, because I know some go up that 24 hours before, and I've seen a market increase, I'll just think, what's the point really? It's put me on a bit of a downer before I've got there.
And if you go in to say, I mean, Ponty wouldn't be the best example of this, and neither would Ripon, but if you go into York, say, and it's 50 quid to get in, does that affect your stake on track?
It would do, yeah. I'd probably be thinking about more what I'm spending when I'm there. I know there's a bit of dialogue a couple of weeks ago about Leicester, who went from £15 midweek to 25 on the day. Although it may only be a tenner, the percentage is a bit too much for me.
I mean, Leicester, I think we should touch on Leicester here. For those who don't know about Leicester, the racecourse manager said they weren't interested in racecourse earlier this year in the Racing Post. I could keep going on because some of the people in Yorkshire have something to do with Leicester. If you look on companies' hat, some of those might be referred to as the Yorkshire Mafia somewhere. Anyway, they're 45 quid to get in this Saturday. You're going to Nottingham, I bet. I've not asked you, but surely.
Yeah, that's the plan. £9. I mean, it speaks for itself. I mean, I actually did go. I have been to Leicester this year, and all the talk from staff then was about this Mark Wright DJ set. So it's pretty evident what their priority is. And I had quite an enjoyable day when I went, but it's not something I'll be rushing to return.
Yeah, it's bang the average. But at Ponty, John, just at Ponty, you have that. You have had acts there. I can't remember who the hell was there. It was like Bananarama or someone years ago. You had the ABBA tribute act or something this year, didn't you? With Beyond Again or whatever they're called.
That was last year. It'll be a cold day in hell when I'm booking an ABBA act. But yeah, we had the Fillers earlier this year, and we've got Flash, who are a Queen tribute, coming up in a couple of weeks' time.
Oh, they're not there on that Sunday, are they?
Friday night.
Oh, thank God for that.
Friday night.
But do you put your prices up for that?
They would be, the Friday nights would be in line with the Sundays. They'd be our feature meetings.
No, but they're
So yeah,
not. So
they'd be
taking Leicester
up on a
this
midweek
week,
price. Yeah,
it's 45 quid.
yeah.
We're not going to be in those regions, are we?
No, we're not. No,
And
even
and how much is your membership at Ponty?
membership is about 230, 240 quid.
240. And how many days racing do you get for that?
About 16.
So you get 16 days, 15 quid a day, and your average premier price would be 25, would it?
Yeah, you're sort of around 24, 25 quid, yeah.
Okay, so you only have to go, quick maths, 6.5 times to make that pay.
Yeah. And bear
You
in
ever
mind, you get the
consider
reciprocal days as well.
You do get I do reciprocal days for another track, actually, and I'm an absolute bugger for it. Funnily enough, they align with when I go racing. Sando, have you ever considered a membership at Ponty?
I have, yeah. It's tricky because quite a few, obviously, I think some of them fall unfortunate with being in the week and weekdays, and I'll struggle work commitment wise, but it is somewhere I do like to support when I can.
Okay. And would you rather go, I'll name it now, would you rather go racing to Ponty than, say, Doncaster? They're 12 miles apart.
Yeah. Doncaster would be my local, and I would go once a year at most, to be honest. Whereas Ponty,
Why?
I'll try and make 4 or 5, 6 times if I can.
So what do Ponty do that Donny don't?
My perception is Pontefract care more about the customer, and that's one of the most important things when you're walking through the gates. For me personally, I can remember last time I went to Doncaster was March time. It was 25, 28 quid, something like that. There were only the odd turnstile open, large queues despite a sparse crowd, expensive drinks, this, that, and the other, and dire fields to boot. So you know where you're welcome and where you're not, from my perspective.
I'd agree with that. Right, Sando, thank you for your time. John, you race Tuesday, and then obviously that Sunday, where I will see you. I may see you on the Friday night, actually, if the traffic is kind. Andy, thank you for your time. Where are you bookmaking this week, sir?
I'm not bookmaking anywhere this week. We have Simon repping
Lazy
at Beverley.
bastard.
Yeah, I know. Simon's repping at Beverley on Friday and Saturday, so go and see him. I'm actually taking my daughter and her 2 of her mates down to Blackpool for my penance, and then we will alight at Hamilton a week on Saturday.
Well, I will see you there. I'll be there. I cannot believe you're not there on Sunday with me.
Yeah. We don't bet on the flat at Ayr. We there's only a couple of decent days there, and one of them clashes with Ascot. The Sunday is a great initiative, but it's not overly bookmaker friendly, if we're being honest about it. So I shall take my time on the big one and the Grand National roller coaster as opposed to horse racing meeting, and we shall be back a week on Saturday.
Well done. And one last thing, John.
Yeah.
Family days at Ponty.
Mm-hmm.
You've got free rides, haven't you? Certainly have them at Ripon. But for all the kids, at
Ponty, there's some free stuff. There's other stuff that is charged. Ripon do a lot of free stuff. So arts and crafts for kids, Punch and Judy show, that kind of thing. And we'll be looking to see if we can incorporate a little bit more of that at Ponty next year.
Okay, give my regards to Norman. One of the greatest stalwarts of British racing is Norman Gundil. He's been there since they discovered Tutankhamun.
I think he was there before then.
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen. If you could all go now, we'll conclude now with Adam, who's somewhere in the background. Look at this. Unbelievable. Do you enjoy that?
I mean, it's not my number one subject, SD, because I'm a very lucky
man.
man.
Got to get people talking about it.
We have. Yep. There's. I mean, SD, man of the people. offering to pay for tickets for followers of races now to attend. I thought that was excellent. Great to see Sandown on because
Yes.
I've never come across him before in person, but I must say that he's always since day one. He's always been in our comments and following yourself with the tips and our videos, which is fantastic. Really good to have Robert Whitelock on from Hexham. We know that the great press they've been getting, most of it's coming from your mouth and your account. John from Ponty as well, formerly of Ripon, still half in the door at Ripon as well. So getting people really from the front line, as we said, from the top, really. Race goers, we had 2 or 3 race goers on, Cameron, Sam, Neil, a bookmaker on from Cairnbet as well, from that side of the fence, plus the guys that actually work and run and in some cases own these race courses as well. So I thought that was pretty good from yourself, SD. As we always say, we could be here all night talking about issues within racing. You didn't really get into the politics, which is fair enough. You know, when I think, as John said, everything's expensive now. You know, you go to Chester Zoo, the prices there can be expensive. I take my son to the football. Every time I go to the football and travel to get there, fair enough. But you travel around the country as well to racing. It costs me £100 every time I go to a Forest game with my 6-year-old. So yeah, it is a very competitive market. There's different ways of doing it. They talked about the
racing
catering.
has an edge. I'll tell you, racing's edge for families is that kids are free.
Yeah,
And long way
at most courses they're free, other than on Epsom Derby Day. But yeah, no, definitely. And like you say, SD, we've both done it. Kids of similar age literally sit on that fence for as long as the stewards allow you to when they're going around the parade ring at Haydock or anywhere for that matter. And getting kids like mine who are never going to be lucky enough to sit on a horse because the dad can't afford it, to see those horses, those animals right up close. And that got me as well. I wasn't brought up on racing. I really, really wasn't. I came into it at 18, landed lucky out of university, and just to see the they are the stars of the show. We talk about jockeys, we talk about music acts, we talk about family days and whatever. They're the star acts, and but it's a competitive market. But you and I do not want to see it decline. That is for sure. Right,
No,
we're
we
just
don't.
under an hour there, SD. So yeah.
Yeah,
SD,
have a lovely evening. We'll, of course, friend of the channel. We hope you're well soon.
I don't know what's up with him.
Well, it might be something to do with me wiping him out last night at Wolverhampton. It may have given him some mystery illness, friend of the channel.
Comments have been so positive for friend of the channel. Friend of the channel has just stuck. People know who friend of the channel is without even asking. So yeah, you've done, you and John, great job, and people do love that content. So we'll be back Thursday, SD. We'll be looking forward to the eclipse. Plenty of bets. We're both showing a profit at the moment. You had a winner on day 1 of the month on your daily tips. You'll be back again, obviously, every morning at around 8:30 for the SD daily tips. Been going now since October. There's no one as relentless and persistent, consistent as SD, delivering those profit on a monthly
like a turd who can't flush. And speaking of turds, well, that's just shit happens. So let's have a lovely evening. Put in the comments, by the way, everyone, if you've any or might I just say, if there's any racecourses doing it right, we've got a couple of racecourse managers on who are thinking a little bit outside the box. Put them in the comments, and we'll
there's a lot of people in the within and on the periphery of the racing industry, including me, that do a lot of moaning and a lot of negativity. And really, we've got to remember that people like SD and those that have been on tonight, taking myself out of the equation, are in it for the good of racing, the love of racing, and yeah, we're trying to be as positive as possible.
Yeah, even though the racing league is wank.
And on that bombshell, we'll see you later.